So what's an idea really worth? I don't mean after it's become a huge company. I mean right at that initial spark. Well, today we're going to dive into a pretty radical new financial ecosystem that's trying to answer that exact question by, get this, turning pure ideas into assets you can actually trade. Here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll uncover a massive, multi-trillion-dollar asset that's hiding in plain sight on the books of big companies. Then, we'll look at the creator's dilemma that this hidden value causes. From there, we'll need a new way to define the capital of ideas before we get into the solution, a new exchange called IPPAEX, and finish up with the really big economic vision behind it all. Okay, so to really get a handle on the opportunity here, we first need to talk about this giant invisible asset that's inside almost every successful company, one that, thanks to accounting rules, stays completely locked away. All right, let me ask you a question. When you think of a company like Apple, what's its most valuable asset? Is it the iPhones? The stores? All that cash they have? Nope. It's actually something you can't see or touch at all. That invisible thing, well, it has a name, and it has a number, and that number is staggering. Back in December 2023, the gap between Apple's stock market value and the actual physical assets on its books was, wait for it, $2.3 trillion. That's trillion with a T. And in the world of accounting, this huge hidden value is called goodwill. So what exactly is goodwill? Well, to put it simply, it's the premium people are willing to pay for a company above and beyond its tangible stuff. It's the value of the brand, its reputation, customer loyalty. Really, it's the monetary value of all its great ideas and how well it executed them. And here is the big catch. Standard accounting rules actually forbid a company from just, adding its own goodwill to the balance sheet. This means that massive, multi-trillion-dollar value stays completely locked up. It only becomes real on paper if the whole company gets sold. Now, this whole locked value thing creates a huge problem, not so much for giant companies, but for the innovators and creators at the very beginning of their journey. This is what we're calling the creator's dilemma. You see, almost every creator faces what's known as the funding gap. It's that brutal period where you have a brilliant idea, but you haven't made enough progress to get traditional venture capital. And unless you've got rich friends and family, that gap is basically where most great ideas go to die. Now, the people behind this system argue that there's a very specific injustice happening here. They refer to it as Caiaphas Syndrome. This term describes a situation where honest, creative people are basically isolated, their ideas get siphoned off, and then those ideas are given to other, better-connected people to develop with proper funding. And the source material doesn't pull any punches. It says that because of this syndrome, the original creator of an idea is often just cut out of the loop completely. The financial rewards don't go to the inventor, but to others who are just better at playing the game. So if you're going to fix a problem like that, you first need to be able to define the thing that's actually being lost in the process. We need a name for the raw, undeveloped value of an idea itself. And the proposed term is ingequity. Think of it as a mix of intellectual and equity. It's meant to represent that raw capital of ideas, the value that exists in a concept before it becomes a product or a business. This is the very thing that's getting lost in the creator's dilemma. Okay, so how on earth could you capture and trade something as abstract as intellectuality? Well, the proposed solution is a brand new kind of marketplace, the Ipparts Exchange, or IPPAEX for short. IPPAEX is an exchange that's being built for one specific purpose, to list something called brand currencies. And these are the financial tools designed from the ground up to capture and, monetize that intel equity we just talked about. So what in the world is a brand currency? Think of it like a token that is contractually backed by 48% of a brand's future goodwill. Remember that $2.3 trillion of locked-up value at Apple? This system is designed to unlock a slice of that potential value, but right at the beginning, letting a creator sell a piece of their future success to raise the capital they need today. Of course, for any exchange to work, you need, money. That's where MOIM, or MYM, comes into the picture. It's the utility token for the entire platform. It's the currency you use to invest in all the different brand currencies listed on IPPAEX. The easiest way to get your head around this is with this simple analogy. Think of brand currencies like individual company stocks. They represent a piece of one specific idea's future. MOIM, on the other hand, is like the dollar. It's the universal money you use on the exchange to buy any of those different stocks. So let's walk through how this would actually work for a creator. It's a pretty straightforward three-step process. Step 1. A creator lists their brand currency on the exchange. Step 2. Investors use MYM to buy it. And step 3, the creator gets that MYM as totally debt-free, interest-free capital to go and make their idea a reality. Now, obviously, with a new financial system, you have to build in trust. That's why the vision includes a really crucial security layer, a Know Your Client, or KYC process. This is all about verifying the real-world identity and credibility of the people behind the brands, which helps protect everyone's funds. All right, let's zoom out for a second, because this isn't just a proposal for a new type of exchange. It's really a vision for a whole new economy, one that wants to fundamentally change who gets access to capital and why they get it. This new model really has 3 core objectives. First, it wants to shift the focus away from short-term profits and towards long-term value creation. Second, it wants to get everyone, investors, creators, laborers, on the same page, all working toward the success of the whole ecosystem. And third, it aims to democratize venture capital, basically letting anyone become an angel investor in the next big idea. So when you strip away all the new terms and the mechanics, the mission is actually very simple. Create a direct pipeline from capital to creativity. The whole point is to finally close that funding gap and empower innovators to build their own visions on their own terms.
Which leaves us with a really big, fascinating question to think about. If we could actually treat pure ideas as a tradable asset class, just like stocks or real estate, how would that fundamentally change not just who gets funded, but what actually gets built in our world?